An absolutely vital method of resistance right now is to demand consent culture. We are right now witnessing the rapid theft of choices, spaces, and rights around our bodies, education, information, relationships, access, freedom of movement, technology, what we buy, how we identify, health, housing, land, food, and even how we move throughout the world. In capitalist colonial empire, there's usually an assumption of consent, which really isn't actual consent at all. It's not consent if you assume consent. And because of this, decisions are made about us and for us in the most fundamental ways, without us being given the choice to opt out, without our consent. From police, ICE, the oligarchy, government, websites, products we buy, water, air, how we connect our identities, our data, we are not being given a choice. Without our consent, decisions are being forced upon us. Compliance, obedience, submission. Some of you know this so well already and have for generations. And for others, this realization may be very recent. Not being given a choice, not being asked for consent, it is the way the United States was established, without consent. We have to demand consent. We have to demand a consent culture. Keep in mind, there are very real risks put onto people that white, cis, het, colonial, ableist culture does not want to exist. So if you're someone who navigates the world with less relative risk, then be a co-conspirator. We have to push back hard against the violent, forced culture of no consent. It's during times of the most repression that resistance movements create the most change. Insist, persist, resist, say no, push back, do not consent, we do not consent, I do not consent, I do not consent, I do not consent.